G'day, ZiggyD here. It's the day after Blizzcon and we're just sitting out the front of the convention center here. We're kind of waiting around for our flights. We've got quite a few hours, so been spending a fair bit of time thinking about Overwatch. You know, I'm sure on many people's minds, being that it's kind of like the biggest announcement we've had from a BlizzCon in quite a while. You know, the first new IP in 17 years. Kind of a big deal for Blizzard. And the game itself seems like kind of like a bit of a risky step for them as well, because it's such a different, it's a completely new genre that they haven't been in before, completely different art style, and a big shift for them overall. So obviously people have been thinking about that a lot. I see two questions come up very often though, and those are comparing the similarities to Team Fortress 2, or people saying things like, you know, oh, it's just a Team Fortress 3, or Team Fortress 2 but better, or Team Fortress 2 but worse, you know, depending on where you sit. But a lot of comparisons have been drawn between it and Team Fortress. Another question that comes up a lot is the monetization plans for the game as well. So I kind of wanted to just like muse on some of the things I've learned about both of those two questions in this video here for you guys. So maybe you might find it a little bit interesting, because I've had a chance to try out the game, sitting on a few panels, and talk to some of the developers as well. So I managed to get a bit of information about each of those two topics. So the first one is the comparisons to Team Fortress 2. Now, Overwatch is in the same genre as Team Fortress 2. It is a kind of, I guess, a lighter graphical style, like it looks similar as well. But in terms of the genre, it is a team-based, objective-based shooter. Now, Team Fortress 2, to my understanding, has like deathmatch and stuff like that. So that's kind of the first point of differentiation there, is that Overwatch has no deathmatch mode, and so far they've said that they don't plan on adding a deathmatch mode. That's not what they want the game to be about. They want the focus to be on fairly simple objectives, and then mostly on the actual abilities of the heroes. So when they were asked about this particular topic during the Q&A, people, you know, saying you've been compared a lot to Team Fortress, their first kind of response was that they're like honored to be compared to Team Fortress 2. Like, a lot of the developers are big fans of Team Fortress 2. They absolutely love the game, and they couldn't kind of exude how much they liked that. So, however, they did sort of follow up that point by saying that there are some pretty significant differences between them and Team Fortress 2. I mean, of course they're going to say that, but what are these actual differences? What do they claim the differences to be? And I guess based on my experiences so far, do I think they're actually significantly different? So the first one is verticality, and this is something that people say, you know, oh, it's just Team Fortress 2 with a bit more verticality. So that's like the minor differentiation, I guess. But a lot of the heroes are flying, they can leap around, there's a lot more mobility in the game, there's a lot more moving up and down. So verticality is like such a buzzword these days. It sounds so lame when you say the word verticality now. But based on my hands-on gameplay with it, it is very mobile. A lot of the heroes can either jump around, and some of them can even fly or hover, and some of the other heroes who can't do that themselves can latch onto other heroes that can do so. So that can kind of speed them up. I talked about in a previous video about Mercy the medic being able to latch onto Tracer. Even though Mercy can fly around, she's not super fast, but Tracer is very, very fast. So you can combine the fly, or the upwards mobility of Mercy the medic with the speed of Tracer and move around the map really fast. So mobility is kind of a big deal there. Not all the heroes are mobile. Some of them are kind of set up and defend certain area characters, and those sorts of characters are being aimed at people who are not very good FPS players, or they don't enjoy the FPS genre as much, but they like the idea of supporting and helping out a team, so there's some support classes and things like that. So that's the first difference, is that kind of like speed and mobility and verticality. Now, I understand there's a bit of that into Team Fortress 2, so that's probably not enough of a differentiating point. Like, if that was it, I think people would be like, yeah, it's basically just a newer Team Fortress. But I think the most significant point is the fact that these actual characters are very, very individualized, like very, very fleshed out, both in terms of like their lore, their backstory, their design, but also in terms of their actual abilities. So compared to Team Fortress 2, where you have kind of like these classes and then you customize their kit, so you might have various different types of the same class based on your actual kit and loadout that you've selected. In Overwatch, your heroes are kind of predefined, they've said that there will not be unlockables, so there's no such thing as like kits or anything that you can use to change those heroes, but the heroes themselves have set abilities, and it's almost MOBA-like in the fact that you have this wide selection of heroes, and right at like the current point in development, there's already more heroes than there are classes in Team Fortress 2, and they're going to be adding tons more, just like with MOBA. But also, similar to MOBA as well, you have a couple different skills and an ultimate ability that you must charge up as well, and they charge up differently depending on the heroes. And each of the heroes, so far, based on my experiences, plays very differently from each other. The big focus of the game is on the objective-based maps, and then the hero abilities and how you sort of pursue the objectives with those different abilities. So I think that's going to be the biggest differentiating point between this game and Team Fortress 2 is the actual variety in the different heroes, how the heroes interact with each other, and how the heroes interact with the different objectives and different objective maps. And it has been called a bit of a fusion between a MOBA and an FPS game. And although it doesn't have any of the MOBA elements like towers and farming creeps and stuff like that, in terms of like the hero design and the map design, like there's some similarities there between that other genre. So I think that's probably the biggest differentiator. But this whole idea of it being similar to Team Fortress 2 and that being a bad thing is kind of like BS in my mind. How is that even a bad thing? Team Fortress 2 is a widely loved game. There are a few other games that have tried to make different but similar games, like, you know, in that same sort of genre that haven't done so well. Blizzard kind of moving into that and trying to make a better Team Fortress, even if they weren't really making it very different, I think would be a good thing. I'm, for one, excited to see what Blizzard can manage to make out of this, whether they can take the formula that made Team Fortress 2 successful, put their own spin on it and expand on it and make it different but better. So I'm interested to see what happens with that, and I don't think it's a bad thing that it is being called similar to Team Fortress 2. So the next question is the monetization model. Now, they haven't said anything firm about the monetization model as of yet, but they have given a few little hints in the various panels and in the press conference that I attended, as that can kind of lead us in the right direction, I think. Now, I think it makes the most sense that this will be a free-to-play game. Now, I base that assumption on the fact that they've done two recent games. They've done Heroes of the Storm and they're doing Hearthstone, that are both free-to-play games, and so far we've seen Hearthstone do very well with that model, and I think we're going to see the same thing happen with Heroes of the Storm. If Heroes of the Storm does go well with that model, I think it's almost guaranteed that this game will also be a free-to-play game. And it makes the most sense from the perspective of trying to attract the largest sort of player base as quickly as possible, and then they can kind of win people over with the polish and the ways that they expand on the game from there. And for Blizzard, as this is a kind of a risky step as well, moving into a new genre with a completely new art style, with, you know, a very different type of game to what they've made in the past, something that might not necessarily appeal to a lot of their fan base already, but might appeal to other people, you really need to lower those barriers to entry as much as possible to get people to actually try that out, because they might even be trying to draw over some people from games like Team Fortress 2 that are very ingrained in their current game. But if you have a paywall there, if you say you need $20 to try this out, and you might not like it as much as Team Fortress 2, then those people aren't going to try it out. So if they want to win people over from games like Team Fortress 2, then they do need to have it free to play. So I think it's almost guaranteed that the game will be free to play. As for the actual monetization, we had people ask about whether the game would have hats, and they trollingly said that that was a great idea and they would consider implementing it, but I'm pretty sure that was just them taking a stab at the people that have been comparing them to Team Fortress 2 a lot and kind of just trolling a little bit there. But they have also had questions about skins, whether they would be different types of skins for characters, and this, their answer there kind of leads us towards the monetization model a little bit, because they said that although they haven't explored the option yet, they think that artists would do very well with skins. I could certainly see that happening. I could certainly see how the different heroes could be given different flavors with completely different outfits, and they said that they would be very excited to see what could be done with that. So I think that is a pretty good sign that it's something that's what they'll be exploring at the moment. I think at this point they actually haven't selected a monetization model, though they probably are internally having a bit of a dialogue and sort of leaning towards a free-to-play model with the selling of cosmetic skins. Now, that's not enough. I don't think cosmetic skins alone is enough to support a game in terms of monetization. So I suspect, based on how Heroes of the Storm does, now we've already seen Hearthstone do very well with its kind of gold system, like where you can purchase packs or you can purchase arena entrances and things like that. And then Heroes of the Storm has kind of incorporated this idea of like a gold that you can earn as well, and you can use that to unlock heroes, and you can use that to unlock skins and things like that. I think we're going to see kind of like a bit of a hybrid of the two, or closer probably more to Heroes of the Storm. Again, we're seeing a little bit of crossover between MOBAs and the FPS genre again here, and I think it will probably employ a bit of a similar monetization model. Now, I wouldn't be super surprised if we had a hero rotation sort of system where a limited number of heroes, let's say 6, the team size is 6, so let's say 6 heroes are on a free rotation every week or every day or something like that. And then there is the ability to purchase heroes to be unlocked at all times. And this would give people a chance to try different heroes, fall in love with them, and then want to unlock them either with gold earned through some sort of progression system in-game, or purchased, you know, through a microtransaction system. So the purchasing of heroes and skins, I think, is probably what we're going to see. I don't think we'll see too much else other than that, but I'm not exactly sure. I doubt they're going to sell maps. Pretty sure they don't want to divide the community up with something like that. They've said, kind of like slightly off topic, but they've said that there will not be unlocks in the game. So when they kind of said that though, they were talking more about gameplay affecting unlocks. Now that could extend to heroes and having a hero rotation, but I think having a hero rotation kind of means that you will have a chance to try all heroes. So I think that kind of excludes that from their idea of not having unlocks. I think when they were talking about not having unlocks, they were only referring to things like guns or better equipment for your characters. So I think that's not what they want to do. I think they want to keep the heroes as kind of like fully featured as they can right off the bat when someone first plays them. Anyway guys, if you have any other questions on my experience with Overwatch, or if you have any other things you'd like me to talk about, feel free to let me know in the comments below. That's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.